So Tyrone, 11 points. Mayo, 9 points. Tyrone take a big step in the fight for survival. Two massive points for Tyrone that takes them above Monaghan and Kildare now in the table. It gives them a huge chance at avoiding relegation. And for Mayo, not the end of the world. I mean, their main focus is definitely going to be towards the championship, no doubt about it. Definitely a bit of an indifferent team. Obviously, a lot of changes in defence, a lot of new players coming in there like Donegal McHugh and David McBride. He had Aidan O'Shea obviously playing at centre back as well. So a little bit of an indifferent Mayo team, no doubt about that. But from a Tyrone perspective, excellent first half performance, grinding out the victory in the end. But in the first half, absolutely superb. You know, that's a lot more what we expect from Tyrone. That's a lot more what we've seen from Tyrone last year. Coming out the blocks fast, quick, moving the ball. And, you know, getting those wing backs forward as well, like Peter Hart with 3 points. He was brilliant. Conor Myler, brilliant as well. So a lot of positives for Tyrone. And as always, this is the instant match reaction here on GAA Fan TV. So if you could smash the like button and subscribe if you're new, that would be absolutely brilliant. Kevin McGinty says, great game. Glad to see Tyrone come out on top there with a fantastic first half and some very good defending. It looked great from the get-go, like the flick of a switch. Yeah, you know, and it reminded me a bit of Dublin's performance actually last weekend in the first half against Tyrone. You know, it was kind of similar to that. It was almost if Tyrone woke up all of a sudden and they realised, you know, we're backs are against the wall here. We're under pressure. We're under the cosh. We might be going down here. We might be getting relegated if we don't get our act together. And sometimes Tyrone are at their absolute best when they are being wrote off, when people are saying they're finished or they're not going to win. And then they just, you know, that kind of siege mentality sometimes that exists within Tyrone, you know, sometimes ends up coming up trumps. We've seen them do it in the All-Ireland series. And I'm sure Fergal Logan and Brian Dooher are saying, look, you're playing Mayo and Kerry in your final two games. No one's giving you a chance. Everyone's writing you off. But let's not forget, last year, you had in reverse order, Kerry and then Mayo, and everyone was very mumuch writing Tyrone off. Although I did back Tyrone to win, to beat Mayo, and I think a lot of people did, to be fair. But, you know, in this game, you were fancying Mayo to be better. But look, Tyrone started very well. As I was saying before, like Peter Hart was absolutely excellent in the game. His contribution going forward, 3 brilliant points. Spotting the players in front of him as well. Like Rory Brennan was impressive. Conor Myler, fantastic as well. Like Tyrone's forwards were relatively quiet. Lee Keegan, I thought, done a good job. On Darren McCurry limited him quite a bit. He only scored 1 point in the game, which was late in the second half, I think it was. So, you know, and obviously Colin McShane, who was being picked up by Aidan O'Shea, didn't really have too much of an influence. Dara Canavan was bright at different times, and when he gets on the ball and when he's running, I feel like he's at his best when Tyrone are trying to hit teams on the counter attack, and that's when you see Canavan kind of do his best work, because he's incredibly pacey. But it was good to see him get his point from play as well. Obviously, a point from a mark as well, so 2 points in total from him. You had Ronan McNamee back in there as well, which is absolutely huge. You know, I don't think he won I know they said in commentary he won an All-Star, but I don't think he did win an All-Star last year off the top of my head. Definitely should have, though, if he didn't. From what I remember, he was absolutely brilliant last year, and brilliant to have him back in there. Tyrone, just a little bit more solidity, I think, in that defense as well, which I think was crucially important from a Tyrone perspective. I thought around the middle, Mayo were probably a bit better, like Jordan Flynn and Matthew Rowan, again, both brilliant. Matthew Rowan, brilliant again from a Mayo perspective. But yeah, like I think as the game went on from a Mayo point of view, like I feel like the game was there for them. I really do. There was a time where there was only a point in it with about 20 minutes to go, and you were kind of looking at it and thinking, there's a chance here for Mayo. And they're doing that thing again where they, you know, they fall behind, they go 3, 4, 5 points down, and then they just slowly start to claw that lead back and fight back. And you think it's happening again. Mayo are about to complete yet another brilliant comeback. But it wasn't meant to be this time around. Just, yeah, like, I suppose the options who came off the bench probably didn't make as big an impact as you would have hoped. I know Jack Harney scored a point, but Kevin McLaughlin probably didn't have his best game. And in general, like I think maybe the worry from a Mayo point of view is, yes, you do have a star-studded forward in Ryan O'Donoghue, who, in my opinion, is one of the best forwards in the country. But other than that, you know, without Tommy Conroy in there, without Cillian O'Connor in there, you're kind of looking and thinking, Aid Norm's obviously new into the teams, young lad. He was obviously with the under-20s last year, so it's probably going to take a bit of time for him to click into gear. Same obviously with Paul Towie as well. Jason Doherty, who's come back from 2 ACL injuries back to back. So I mean, there's no given that he's gonna produce over the course of an entire season. So you are kind of looking at it, and I know I did back Mayo to win the All-Ireland, and I'm certainly not backtracking on that statement after one game, but you would look at it and think, is there a bit of a worry there? Do you have enough in your forwards? Like Ryan O'Donoghue, the only forward to score in the game from a Mayo point of view, which would be a little bit worrying. And do they have many players who can kick from 30, 40 meters? I'm not sure. To be fair, Matthew Rowan, Jordan Flynn, these lads can. We've seen that in the past, and even the likes of Lee Keegan when he marches forward. So you do get scores from lower down the pitch, but in terms of that forwards, I'm just not sure. So that could definitely be a worry from a Mayo perspective. But look, from Tyrone, it was a big win, and to get those 2 points as well, putting you in a fantastic position now to avoid that relegation. Don't know what's going on with Kieran McGeary as well. Like a few misses in the first half, just not up to it whatsoever so far this year. Not producing that Footballer of the Year form whatsoever. A little bit unusual, to say the least, that he hasn't quite produced the same form. But look, you will take confidence over the fact that Peter Hart was very impressive. Conor Moyler was impressive as well. And definitely, I think that sort of some of the new lads in that Mayo defence, just a little bit of disorganisation in there. I thought Dave McBride got better as the game went on. I remember he made a big tackle early in the second half. Aidan O'Shea in a centre back, did it really work? I'm not sure. I don't really think so, to be perfectly honest. So where does he go from here? I don't know. Is James Horn just trying to get him into the team just to see? We'll throw him in here and see if this works. This kind of felt a bit like that from Mayo. Let's try different players out here and here and see if it works, because the game essentially didn't really matter. As I said in the preview for this weekend's games, if Mayo get into the league final, it's a bonus, but it's not, the All-Ireland is that's the one they want. That is the one they want. No doubt about that. Match Attack says, I hope Kildare win against Monaghan. Yeah, I mean, I actually hope reversal, to be honest, because then, Monaghan would pretty much be safe, dead and buried, and hopefully then Dublin can do the business. Porrick says Tyrone played controlled football. Peter Hart, amazing point towards the end of the first half. Mayo forward still lacking quality. Yeah, it depends. I think it depends big time on whether Cillian O'Connor comes back. It's probably, I don't know if he is coming back at this stage. Like, looks a bit unlikely. So I don't really know there. Like, they've got a lot of young kind of forwards in there. Fionn McDonough, Aidan Orme as well, Jack Carney, these kind of lads. But maybe is it a bit too early for them? I don't know. But still think Mayo are brilliant around the middle, brilliant defensively as well. Still think they have a lot more. They might just need to find that bit more in attack other than Ryan O'Donoghue. But we'll see what happens. But yeah, big win for Tyrone, no doubt about it. And just looking at the what is going on here, just looking at the league table there, for a brief moment. Tyrone up to 5th or 4th now, or what am I saying? Yeah, 5th in the league now, and it's getting incredibly tight as well between the top two teams as well. Like, even Tyrone are only 2 points now behind Mayo and Armagh, which is kind of crazy, really. But obviously, with the negative score difference and everything else, there's no way they'll creep into those top two positions. But yeah, kind of interesting there. Donegal's certainly not out of it as well. They'll be looking over their shoulder massively now, no doubt about it. If they lose to Dublin, they could be in big trouble. I think whoever loses really between I think if Kildare get beat by Monaghan, I think that's them gone. So there really is a lot of permutations going into it, no doubt about it. Always will have no idea what you're saying there, May. Maybe bed is the right option there, my man. Maybe it is. It's been a long weekend, Paddy's weekend, all the rest. I feel you if you're out having points and everything, because I'm a little hungover today, not going to say the least. And listening to Eamon Fitzmaurice in commentary, by God, I mean, you'd swear he's talking at a funeral sometimes. He's a good pundit, don't get me wrong, but just show a bit of energy. Do you know what I mean? We're all falling asleep. But anyway, I suppose to conclude, we're going a bit off topic there. Tyrone with the victory, 11 points to 9 in the end. They'll march on now into their final game against Kerry. And, I think Kerry are very much in that league final. That's dead and buried. I think they could, rest a lot of players next weekend, and maybe it will give Tyrone the chance. But I also think as well, it's likely that Tyrone maybe don't even need to win next weekend. It really is going to depend on other results as well. If Dublin lose tomorrow and Kildare lose, you're pretty much safe then. You're pretty much you're safe from there. So big win for Tyrone. Undoubtedly Peter Hart man of the match. I think that goes without question. But I think Conor Moyler was very close in there as well. Jordan Flynn was very good from a Mayo perspective. Big win, no doubt about that. So we'll go ahead and finish this up here. If you could leave a like, all that stuff. And stay tuned for more reactions and everything else coming your way soon. So I'll speak to you all later.